The franchise owner believes that all signs point to the quarterback sealing a deal with the Steelers in the coming weeks. Let's reflect on the comments regarding this situation and the reasons that support the expectation that the athlete will indeed sign the contract soon. We will also discuss some recent statements from the coach, who said he felt comfortable with having a player in that position as the starter and why this statement should not be interpreted literally. Following this, I will talk about the urgency the team has in securing a new contract for a key player before another important deal is made. Additionally, we will cover some new league regulations that were presented during the owners' meetings, which took place at a location in Florida. Before we dive deeper into the topic, it's always good to remember that it's possible to stay updated with daily news from the team. As soon as a decision is made, an immediate reaction will be shared, along with extensive draft-related content. Now, let's analyze what has been said about the athlete's situation. There is a positive expectation that he will sign to join the team in the near future. One of the owners mentioned, "We continue to receive information that he is moving in our direction. All signs have been encouraging so far." This suggests strong confidence that he will join the team this year. Regarding the athlete who trained with a teammate in Los Angeles last weekend, it was emphasized that this is a good sign, and this observation is valid. All signs really point to the team formalizing a contract with him at some point, as soon as he feels ready to announce his willingness to join the team. The franchise will be ready and attentive, and in the eyes of many, he will inevitably become part of the organization. It's just a matter of time at this stage, given all the evidence and various factors signaling his interest in the team in recent weeks. To begin, he has been maintaining frequent dialogues, as reported by specialized outlets, since the start of the transfer period, where he had regular interactions with various team members about this potential partnership. He also scheduled a visit to the city, which was described as something beyond the field, according to reports. Moreover, he has been in communication with several players, especially on the offensive side. It is known that one team member mentioned on a local radio station that he was approached via direct message. Furthermore, he participated in a private training session with a teammate in Los Angeles last weekend. Therefore, all the information suggests that the team will, at some point, sign him, and for him to make his decision, whether in the short or long term, it seems certain that he will eventually decide to join the team. However, it seems that someone within the organization is beginning to feel a certain level of apprehension. He was recently asked how long he would be willing to wait for the decision, and he responded that it wouldn't be forever, but a little longer. This raises an important question of how long this little longer is. Will it be a few days, weeks, or even months? The answer remains unclear. The coach, the decision he refers to is not forever, but for a slightly longer period. Thus, the significant doubt arises about what this longer period is considered to be. Will it be a few more days, some weeks, or perhaps a few months? The answer is still unclear. When the coach addressed the media, he mentioned that training camp could be a decisive moment to decide if they will tell him that it's too late to accommodate him. However, it seems there is a timeline that extends a little beyond the coach's current position. Regarding the latest speculations about where he might be, someone claimed to have seen his presence in Tijuana, Mexico, recently. This person shared a video showing someone who clearly resembles him leaving a hotel in the city. The question arises, is he there for a retreat seeking darkness or to participate in some alternative medicine experience, commonly called ayahuasca? It is unclear why he is in Tijuana or if he is really there. Perhaps the video is old. In any case, this could indicate that he is in the final stages of a process. He conducted thorough research and formulated an offensive strategy with a coordinator. The contract, according to reports, has already been defined for weeks. And perhaps the last step for him is to immerse himself in darkness or explore psychedelic substances, allowing his mind to reveal his future intentions. Is he still considering retirement, or does he want to join the Steelers this year? He claimed to have received insights during a previous retreat that led him to not retire and opt for another team a few seasons ago. This factor seems to have been crucial in his past decision. If he is indeed in Tijuana, it seems an appropriate location for a retreat. Therefore, it's highly probable that he is in a state of deep reflection or under the influence of some psychedelic substance, contemplating his potential as the Steelers' quarterback in 2025. Additionally, another theory suggests he could make his announcement at an event scheduled for April 9th. There is much speculation about whether he will be the Steelers' quarterback in 2025, and a new theory suggests the announcement might happen at an event scheduled for April 9th. This event, which will feature several personalities, sold out its tickets quickly, and more tickets were made available beyond the initial plan. The event will take place on a Wednesday, for those curious. As this date approaches, the possibility that he will make an appearance, perhaps wearing something representing the Steelers, and officially announce his decision during the event, becomes more real. Program members have commented on this, expressing a desire for him to make the announcement on their show, though they suggest that he hasn't yet accepted the invitation to participate. This could be a strategy to keep the situation under wraps. What we know at this moment is that he shows considerable interest in the Steelers, and everything points to him possibly becoming the starting quarterback in 2025. What do you think about this? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Will he make his decision by the end of this week, or will he wait until next week or even longer? Recently, the coach spoke with the press, and in a previous conversation, I shared some impressions about his openness to the media. I didn't mention a specific player, but he made an interesting comment stating that he would feel comfortable having that player as his starting quarterback for 2025 if. This week, the coach spoke with the press, and I shared my thoughts on his availability. I didn't mention a specific player, but he made an interesting point stating that he feels comfortable considering an athlete as the starting quarterback for 2025 if needed, especially if another player decides not to join the team. It's important to clarify what this doesn't mean. It doesn't imply that the team has given up on pursuing that player. Also, it doesn't suggest that if they fail to sign him, they won't seek another quarterback, nor does it indicate that they view the player mentioned as an elite quarterback. What the coach is conveying is that the team feels comfortable keeping him as a temporary starter and a reliable backup. In fact, if they don't manage to acquire that player, they are fine with having him as the starter at the beginning of the season. However, regarding being the definitive quarterback who could lead them to success, that confidence does not exist. The general manager and the coach have reiterated their desire to win a Super Bowl this year and don't believe that the mentioned player can achieve that goal. They recognize that he may play in some games and provide support, but they don't consider him a long-term franchise quarterback. At best, they see him as a temporary starter who could guide a rookie selected in the NFL draft. This shouldn't be interpreted as believing he's a lasting solution. It's worth remembering that this is the same organization that, in the past, expressed full confidence in a quarterback, only to acquire another and trade the mentioned player soon after. They also claimed to be fully committed to another player, but offered him a contract equivalent to that of a more experienced quarterback, allowing him to join another team for a much lower price. This doesn't exactly demonstrate a strong commitment. Therefore, the circulating information, as well as the team's statements, suggest that it's sensible to approach their intentions with some skepticism. The team offered him a contract similar to one a quarterback received and let him join another team for only $20 million per season, which, in my view, doesn't express a decided strategy. Information is emerging, and the organization itself has indicated that their words should not be taken literally. They stated this year that they intended to keep 2 quarterbacks, but it's clear that they weren't really interested in either of them, as they weren't willing to offer one of them a salary commensurate with mid-level players. Furthermore, last year, they expressed appreciation for 2 quarterbacks, but neither of them remains with the team for the upcoming season. Therefore, one could almost disregard what the team says about its quarterback situation as being unreliable, which has been a constant under the leadership of the current managers in recent years. I predict that the team will bring at least one more veteran quarterback to this roster. While it's uncertain if that player will be the one mentioned, it seems reasonable, but if they don't acquire him, I still believe that a trade for another quarterback remains a valid option. I also consider that contacting a veteran player is still a possibility. There are ways for the team to improve its quarterback group, even if the mentioned player chooses to retire or signs with another team. I believe he will eventually join the team, and we discussed this in a previous segment. In the end, it was stated that they want 4 quarterbacks in this group, one of which is a veteran currently without a contract. I would like to hear your opinions on the likelihood that a specific player will be the starting quarterback in the first week. Evaluate on a scale from 0, indicating no chance, to 100, indicating that he is absolutely guaranteed as the team's starting quarterback for the first week of the upcoming season. I would assign about a 2% chance, maybe even 1%, which reflects an extremely remote possibility that he will be the team's starting quarterback in the first week of next year. Share your thoughts. As the starting quarterback of this team in the first week of next year, I would rate the chances of Mason Rudolph actually taking that position on the football team at the beginning of next season as quite low, perhaps around 1% or 2%. However, I'm curious to know what you think about this. Now, changing the subject, it's worth noting that we have some news in the market. Recently, new 2025 NFL draft caps were presented, which are already available for a well-known team. This is the official draft cap that all selected players will wear. The design is quite attractive, with a golden brim and a sleek black look, along with an off-white color with gold details on the black brim. Any of these models are a good choice, but the black design is the standard that all selected athletes will wear. It's an interesting opportunity for fans. I appreciate everyone's support. Now, let's talk about TJ Watt. I think the team needs to act quickly because if they really want to secure a long-term contract for TJ Watt, they must get ahead of negotiations with a standout player from another team. A reporter mentioned that this team has already made a record-breaking offer to this player, exceeding $40 million per season, aligning with what another player received this offseason, even without the involvement of his agent. However, there's still no agreement in place. Currently, the situation is complex because the team prefers negotiating directly with the player rather than involving the agent. For his part, the player has made it clear that it's up to the agent to handle the negotiations, stating that he won't deal with it personally and that communication should be in the hands of his agent. So, unless the team's management decides to meet with the agent, it's likely that this player will end up in free agency or be traded before the end of his contract. Now that one important player has received a payment and another may get a new contract soon, time is running out for the team in question. They're still waiting for another player and aren't sure if he'll stay with the team this year or in the following years. But they can't afford to delay Watt's payment, especially if the other team decides to offer a high value for their player, which approaches the salary of an elite quarterback. We know how essential Watt is to the team. He's an exceptional athlete and is always on the list of top candidates for Defensive Player of the Year. Any idea of trading him at this moment seems somewhat disproportionate. However, it would be ideal for him to accept a contract below $40 million per season if he wanted to remain an emblematic figure and was willing to negotiate a value between $36 and $38 million per season. That would be a reasonable number, but it's undeniable that he is a strong candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, especially when he has expressed the desire to stay in Pittsburgh, aiming to be a one-team player, and has indicated he would accept a salary in the range of $36 to $38 million per season. This amount could be advantageous for the team, but it's important to recognize that he is a recurring candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, especially when he's in good physical condition. If he chooses to request $40 million per season, he has every right to do so. Let's imagine that the request is $40 million per season and that he's not open to negotiations. What would you do if you were in the general manager's role? Type S if you would sign him, or type W if you would let him go to free agency. You can also choose W if you prefer to trade him. I want to know your opinions in the comments, and, as usual, share your reasoning. Now, let's move on to discussing some new decisions from the league during the owners' meetings in Palm Beach, Florida this week, which need to be addressed as we approach the 2025 season. To start, it seems that the play known as the tush-push will indeed return to the league in 2025, with a 16-6 vote in the first deliberation about it. The team strongly opposed the reintegration of the tush-push for 2025, as a coach expressed that he doesn't want to restrict creativity and innovation, something another team managed to achieve by introducing this play. However, a pertinent question was raised regarding the inconsistency in the rules. The league prohibits the use of another player to help in field goal blocking attempts to increase safety, which raises questions about why a more intense version of pushing is allowed in the offense, when it could also be seen as equally risky. This discrepancy causes confusion, especially considering that one action is deemed too risky for athletes, while more aggressive form remains legal simply because a certain team has been successful with that tactic. Therefore, the opposition to the tush-push is understandable, and while the vote to ban this strategy requires a total of 24 votes, currently only 16 are in favor. The issue has been postponed until the owners' meetings resume in March or May. It seems challenging to secure the additional votes necessary to prohibit this play, suggesting that it will likely return in 2025. Additionally, there were modifications to the rules related to touchbacks and kickoffs. The ball will now be placed at the 35-yard line for touchbacks, with the expectation that the kickoff return rate, defined as the percentage of kickoffs that are effectively returned, will significantly increase from about 35% last year in the league to around 80% with this change. Additionally, the overtime regulations will now reflect those of the playoffs, ensuring that both teams have the chance to possess the ball during the extra period. One important change in overtime duration is that it will now last for 10 minutes, as opposed to the 15 minutes observed in the league's playoff games. The implications of these changes suggest that teams will likely adopt a strategy of deferring to their opponents during overtime, choosing to receive the ball last. This way, if the opposing team scores a touchdown, they will need to equalize, but if they only score a field goal, a touchdown will guarantee victory, while a field goal will result in a tie. One consequence of this is that when a game goes into overtime, the strategy usually shifts toward conceding the ball to the opposing team. Teams prefer to receive the ball last because if the first team scores a touchdown, they need to equalize. However, if they only score a field goal, a touchdown will win the game, while a field goal will result in a tie. This provides the team receiving the ball last with a clearer understanding of their goals. Consequently, this dynamic may influence who receives the ball first during the coin toss in overtime going forward. Additionally, the replay assistance system has been expanded to include certain penalties called on the field without introducing new infractions. This means that penalties such as face mask grabs, hitting defenseless players, collar tackles, tripping, and roughing the kicker can be overturned by replay assistance if a flag was initially thrown. For example, if a flag is thrown for a face mask grab, but the replay assistance confirms that no such action occurred, the penalty can be nullified. However, this applies only in cases where a flag was actually thrown. To illustrate, in a game between two teams last Thursday night, where a player's face mask was pulled but no penalty was called, this would remain a no call because the flag wasn't thrown, thus not meeting the criteria for replay assistance. Moreover, under the current regulations, new penalties cannot be created through replay assistance. It seems that we will eventually reach a point where, after observing a few more clear and obvious penalties that weren't called on the field, the use of replay assistance will become essential to ensure accurate calls, especially in critical moments of the fourth quarter. It's crucial to make the right calls in these high-pressure situations, and while this represents a positive advancement, the system is still not fully effective. It is expected that this rule will be refined in the coming years. Now, what are your thoughts on the push play? Should the league consider banning it? It seems there is some support for this idea. What do you think about this? If you're in favor of banning or keeping it, write K if you prefer to keep it. Personally, I lean towards a certain view regarding field goal block attempts, where players should not be allowed to use others to propel themselves, as this raises safety concerns for the athletes. This also makes us think about why it's acceptable for players to push behind a quarterback in certain plays. I fully understand this perspective. Leave your thoughts in the comments section. I'm in favor of the ban, but I'm interested in hearing your opinion. The conversation today about an American football team is coming to an end. I appreciate you being with me up to this point. Surely, if there are updates on a specific situation and a decision is announced, we will inform you live. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. A video surfaced early this morning, sending waves through the NFL community, suggesting that Josh Allen, the star quarterback for the Buffalo Bills, could be making an unexpected move to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Fans are buzzing, and analysts are speculating. Could the Steelers be preparing for one of the most shocking trades of the year? The video, teasing a game-changing acquisition, is fueling endless debates about what this means for the future of both teams. Josh Allen, known for his powerful arm and dynamic playmaking ability, has already rewritten the Bills' record books with 6 playoff appearances and 5 division titles. But this season, despite a solid 3-0 start, Allen's performance has been marred by injuries, including 2 big hits that raise concerns about his health. With a rocky patch against the Ravens and Texans, some are questioning whether a change of scenery might be just what Allen needs to reignite his career. But why would the Steelers, who already have an established quarterback in Kenny Pickett, be eyeing the 6'5" gunslinger? Experts point to Pittsburgh's potential long-term plans. With a roster built for a Super Bowl run, adding a quarterback like Allen could elevate the Steelers to new heights, turning them into an even more formidable force in the AFC. Could Pickett be heading out the door as part of a trade deal? Or is this a move to position Allen as the new face of Pittsburgh football? The idea of the Steelers building around Allen's explosive skill set has fans dreaming of a high-powered offense capable of matching up with the league's elite teams. Yet, there are still so many questions left unanswered. Could the Bills be willing to part with their franchise QB? What would it take to make this blockbuster trade happen? As Pittsburgh fans wait for more official news, speculation grows by the minute. For now, all we can do is sit tight and wonder. Will Josh Allen swap blue for black and gold? The NFL world is on edge, eagerly awaiting the next big update. Stay tuned because this one is far from over. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.